Hello, LinkedIn. Welcome to the Verdantis Thought Leadership Series. I'm Bruce Randall, Regional Sales Manager for the U.S. here at Verdantis. Today, we're diving into one of the most critical pillars in supply chain transformation, inventory and MRO management. For asset-intensive industries, having the right spare at the right time and in the right place mean the difference between smooth operations and a costly downtime. Yet many organizations still struggle with poor visibility, inconsistent data, and reactive processes. Joining me today is Rohan Salvi, Associate Director at Verdantis, who has helped global enterprise solve exact challenges through data harmonization, governance, and also through AI insights. Rohan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Bruce. Good morning, everyone. As Bruce mentioned, I'm Rohan Salvi. I work as Associate Director here at Verdantis. I hold a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering with specialization in the enterprise resource planning and supply chain management. I have spent last 18 plus years working closely with Fortune 1000 companies as they look to address their master data management and governance use cases. Pleasure to be on the show today. Look forward to as we progress.
Rohan, you've worked closely with clients across industries, and they've modernized their supply chain inventory management processes. Can you walk us through your journey and what inspired you to focus on the data side of supply chain transformation?
Thanks, Bruce. So early in my career, I realized that many digital supply chain transformations struggled not because of the process redesign, but more due to the underlying data not being reliable. Inventory visibility, spare part optimization, procurement savings, all of it depends on strong foundation of clean and governed data. That's what inspired me to focus on master data for supply chain. The realization that data is money in this space came fairly early. So it is in a visible thread that ties together the efficiency, resilience, and cost competitiveness.
Now, data has become the backbone of modern supply chains, and you're right, data is money. And looking at that helps us understand the data much better. But from your perspective, how has the role of data in inventory and MRO options, evolved over the years?
So data has shifted from being record keeping activity to becoming the backbone of real time decision making. Earlier, inventory data was used mainly for reconciliations. Today, it drives predictive maintenance, dynamic stockings, and supplier collaboration. Uh, the data evolution is clear. So from being descriptive, like what do I have today, versus to getting diagnostic, what do I, why do I have it, rather than becoming predictive, what will I need, and now increasingly it is becoming prescriptive. What should I do it? What should I do about it? So. Uh, from a data perspective, we have seen a continuous evolution in terms of the thought process that supply chain has had towards the data over the years.
Well, that's good input. Now, what are some of the common data blind spots you see in organizations where they underestimate, especially when it comes to inventory accuracy, spare parts management?
So, one big blind spot that comes to my mind is duplicate and inconsistent part descriptions. Plants calling the same items by different nomenclatures, it inflates the stocks, it hides the true consumption. Another is a ghost inventory, like items that exist in the system but not in reality. They have been consumed by the plant maintenance, but somehow the process of updating it in the inventory master has not happened. Thirdly, the missing critical attributes like manufacturer details and the lead times. These blind spots often hurt the availability and availability of the parts and the ability of the business to consume the inventory optimally.
Well, that's a good point, and especially during transformations, that's important. So, what's a good master data such as like a game changer in inventory and MRO operations. And can you share some real world solutions as to why poor data directly led to inefficiencies or, additional costs?
Oh, sure. For one of our customers, and in oil and gas as a major organization, it did run into a disruption when maintenance placed an order for 100 tubings. And the ordering unit of measure in the system was mentioned as each. But when the supplier actually delivered them, it was actually 100 dozen. So it was a mess on the order unit of measure in the system. So what should have ideally been 100 items, and these are pretty high spend items, actually turned out to be 1,200 items, ending up on the shop floor level. Good master data often prevents errors like this, ensuring that you have your consistent, accurate information available to all the plant maintenance users across different plants. With clean data, procurement teams can leverage true demand, and then with poor data, as you imagine, it creates inflated safety stocks. Purchases are often expedited. The inventory carrying cost is increased. So these are some of the challenges we can relate to with poor quality data. And again, it's a very relatable example that many of the organizations who are asset intensive face.
Yeah, so poor data management just increased costs. So
Mhm.
so there's a lot of buzz today about AI in the supply chain. And based on your experience, what's hype and what's working today in inventory MRO management?
Okay, so AI for MRO, probably it's not a buzz anymore. Really, it's not a hype anymore. Though I'd say that the idea that AI alone can solve spare parts forecasting is a bit overstated. Where really see AI making an impact today is in data enrichment, anomaly detection, and recognizing the usage patterns. For example, AI can detect duplicates real time. They can highlight which spares are most critical based on the failure patterns and even recommend smarter reorder points. It's not a silver bullet as such, but when you layer it on top of clean, standardized data, it becomes extremely powerful tool.
So enriched standardized master data is often the missing link. How
Mhm.
critical is governance when managing thousands of SKUs like across multiple plants and warehouses?
So now I've worked on several governance initiatives, and every customer actually started the initial round of discussions that governance is often an unsung hero of supply chain data. It's an orphan child. Without clear rules, one on how SKUs are created, named, and maintained, chaos creeps in quickly, especially in global organizations with thousands of plants and suppliers. Governance, in a sense, ensures that you have standardization, you have the right compliance by running the right approvals, prevents reintroduction of redundancies or duplicates in the system. It's the difference between one-time cleanup and then a sustainable data health. Because without the right governance strategy, often the cleanup is a recurring event.
Yeah, and MRO is often treated as an afterthought, or during transformations, it's cleansing has taken away for costs. But in many operations, it can be a make or break in the uptime. So, how do you see the strategic role of MRO evolving in industry chain planning?
Uh, Well, if you ask anyone from the maintenance department who runs reports and looks to find parts, thing MRO or equipment, they would call that MRO is often the forgotten child, right? In supply chain process, but it has direct impact. Okay? If a gasket of $10 is missing, it could actually bring the $10 million production line to a standstill. Organizations are realizing that MRO planning is not just a cost control measure, but it is actually realizing opportunities. It's a resilience strategy. So MRO is nowadays MRO is being integrated very closely into the supply chain planning model to drive tangible results.
Okay. Now, a lot of organizations still look at MRO data only through the lens of like materials, for example. But true transformation requires a multi domain approach, covering services, equipment, suppliers, materials, and connecting with ERP modules like the bill of material and inventory management.
Mhm.
How do you see this integrated view changing the way companies manage their operations?
So you're absolutely spot on. Actually, a true transformation initiative often goes beyond just materials. When you connect services, equipment, then the vendors or suppliers and materials in an integrated data model, the benefits actually multiply. For an example, linking supplier data with the bill of material and maintenance records allows you to predict which equipment will need servicing, preemptively source the right spares. Then interconnected views also break the silos and drive the efficiency or operational excellence or agility as such within the maintenance departments.
Right, and predictive maintenance and inventory forecasting are hot topics. Many people do it on
Mhm.
papers and they lose the papers. It's not a formalized process. So, how can AI help companies move from kind of a reactive predictive MRO and supply chain planning to something better?
Mhm. So I think gone are the days where the the results of predictive maintenance or the statistics for predictive maintenance purely relied on what you have stored manually in the system as a data. AI shines in moving organizations from a reactive firefighting or predictive to actually a predictive planning by analyzing details like IoT sensor data, the work order history, spare consumption patterns. AI can forecast the part failures, recommend stocking levels. It also helps in reducing both unplanned downtime as well as excessive stock. Companies that combine predictive maintenance and AI-driven inventory planning are seeing significant cost and uptime improvements. That's helping the bottom lines and the top lines effectively.
Good, good. So what are like the biggest risks you've seen when inventory and MRO guidance is ignored?
So I think the risks are really things like stockouts, inflated working capital, poor supplier leverage, and then failure on compliance part, specifically industries that are heavily controlled, like the food beverage industry, the oil and gas industry. So there, not having the right governance in the MRO space creates these challenges. I've seen many organizations who are forced to get back to the drawing board as MRO governance never made their annual priority list. So MRO governance isn't optional. It's really a risk mitigation to ensure that you don't have to bring up the drawing board every single year.
So in procurement, how can AI go beyond like the static reorder points that you mentioned to recommend like quantities, suggest suppliers, and maybe even prioritize the sourcing?
So from procurement perspective, AI is really pushing procurement far beyond the static reorder points. Instead of simply saying stock this much, AI can recommend dynamic quantities based on the seasonality, usage pattern, lead times, even for today's date, the tariffs, right? So AI is able to take into account all of these, data patterns to provide the optimal, the stocking quantities or optimal levels. It can also suggest alternative suppliers when the risks emerge. For an example, if geopolitical issues or quality problems arise with one supplier, AI can flag viable alternatives. It can prioritize sourcing not just on a unit cost, but on total landed cost, factoring in the transport, lead times, and risks as well. We are seeing organizations use AI to simulate different sourcing scenarios. What happens if I consolidate suppliers? What happens if I dual source? The insights are very powerful and help procurement teams move forward uh, from a moving away from a tactical firefighting to a strategic decision making. It's still early days, but potential is enormous.
And we are truly still in the early days on that. But looking across the industries you've worked in, what lessons from consumer supply chains like B2C and industrial supply chains like B2B adopt and vice versa?
Good, interesting one. So I've been in the B2B space for most of my time, but there is a lot that B2B can learn from B2C because I have been on the other side of B2C, right? So consumer supply chains have mastered the demand sensing, personalization, real-time visibility. As I think about it, I look at one product and the e-commerce, websites, e-commerce platforms are quick to respond and present the right recommendations based on what I just viewed. Okay, the same capability can be applied to the MRO as well, and that could actually transform the spare part forecasting. On the other hand, B2C can learn from B2B as well, because B2B focuses on resilience, risk management. So consumer supply chain often prioritize speed and efficiency, sometimes at the expense of introducing redundancies. B2B supply chains, especially in asset intensive industries, understands the value of dual sourcing, safety stock, and supplier diversification. Now, what the pandemic has taught us is to pick up the best of both worlds, because both sides actually have captured some major learnings from it. B2C companies have realized resilience matters. B2B companies are now seeing the power of real time data visibility. Going forward, the best supply chains will borrow from both, combining B2C agility and then responsiveness of B2C with the resilience and risk management of B2B.
Okay, that's a good point. So, Rohan, if you were to prioritize, what do you think the first use case every supply chain leader should explore for the fastest ROI?
Okay, so if I had to pick one AI use case for supply chain leaders to start with, I'd think about something that has potentially an immediate return, right? Return on investment. So I'd say duplicate detection, data enrichment. These are some of the low hanging fruits which have immediate ROI. Okay. When you reduce duplicates and enrich SKUs with standardized details, you instantly improve inventory visibility. That allows procurement to consolidate demand, finance to reduce working capital, maintenance to get parts faster as well. I've seen companies realize almost 10 to 15% of reduction in inventory carrying costs just from this one initiative. And beyond this immediate ROI, it builds a foundation to do more advanced use cases like predictive analysis, AI driven procurement. So if you're looking for a starting point, begin with AI enablement for data quality, and it delivers quick wins, sets you up for a long term transformation.
Well, that's a good suggestion. Thanks, Rohan. So it's clear when organizations operate in a complex, asset heavy environment, they can't afford blind spots in inventory and MRO because it's very costly. The need for real time clarity, predictive insights, and clean, trusted data to make better decisions across supply chains is needed. And I look at it as data capital, where your money has to be clean. You have to know how much you have so you can spend properly. With data, that has to be kept clean so you can maximize the return on your data. And that's exactly what Verdantis delivers with software like Harmonize, Integrity, and Inventory 360. It's a command center for MRO, exacting data from siloed ERPs, and we all know about those, standardizing descriptions, mapping historical data usage, flagging critical spares, for example, and then enabling predictive analytics for smarter procurement and for stock optimization. It's not just software, it's a strategy for supply chain and also for inventory optimization. So Rohan, could you shed some more light on this? Specifically, like how do these softwares translate into real world impact in organizations that are kind of struggling with fragmented data and inventory inefficiencies, and maybe they're not that familiar with AI also?
Absolutely, Bruce. So now, speaking about Verdantis solutions like Harmonize, Integrity, and of course the upcoming Inventory 360, these are designed to turn the fragmented data or siloed data into a single source of truth. Now take Inventory 360 for example. It doesn't just look at cleansing and standardizing the historical data. It actually maps its usage, flags what are critical, builds predictive models for smarter stocking. That means organizations can actually reduce the inventory and cut the planned downtimes, unplanned downtimes. Uh, First, free up millions that are actually tied up in unconsumed capital. Okay. On the other hand, harmonize ensures that everything, from master data perspective is consistent across multiple systems as well, which improves the visibility, which prevents the redundancies or duplicates in the system. Integrity, which is the bolt-on governance platform, ensures that the new data coming in adheres to the same standards. Okay, making sure that you never need to, you don't need to again run the whole process of improving the legacy data. Together, these solutions create a command center for the MRO space. For clients, the real world impact is going to be from firefighting to foresight. Instead of scrambling when the part are missing or the stock is bloated or something has gotten obsoleted, they have trusted data, predictive insights, and clear path forward. It's just it's just not limited to the software alone. It's a strategy for supply chain transformation.
Okay, Rohan. Now let's wrap up with like some quick fire round here. So,
Okay.
most underrated technology in the supply chain right now. What do you say to that?
Uh, AI in data governance automation, it has potential to add tremendous value, and it actually the value to multiple downstream processes.
And what's the most common like inventory mistake that you see clients making today?
So now this probably is a perception at maintenance user level rather than at corporate level, thinking that more stock equals to more safety, and does not mean any downtime. In reality, it's about the right stock and not more stock.
And what's one area of MRO that's really ready for automation?
So I think from an automation standpoint, it would be enrichment of your data real time, making sure that there is an immediate ROI using the AI, running the processes, enabling the users with the right decision using the AI on the MRO side, which generally, if you have to do it in mass, it often takes many weeks, many, even at times years as well. Now, a lot of these processes can
Yeah.
be reduced down to several days. Duplicate detection is another aspect which I would like to highlight, which can be managed in an automated way in today's AI world.
So, last question here. What do you do to relax after a busy day?
Well, my day ends pretty late, so it's usually the sleep, good night sleep, followed by in the morning I do have some time where I get to swim. If when you're swimming, if you think too much, you'll probably drown. So that's completely sets me up for the next day.
Rohan, thanks for sharing such a practical and strategic insights today. From the importance of clean master data to the realities of managing inventory and MRO, at scale. For the listeners, whether you're already diving into like a digital transformation or optimizing inventory or, building more resilience into your supply chain, remember this: data is no longer back end hygiene. It's the digital core of agility, performance, and innovation. If you'd like to explore more of how Verdantis can help you unlock visibility, make smarter inventory decisions, and improve MRO efficiencies, reach out to us today. The future of supply
Mhm.
chain is intelligent, and it starts with mastering your data. Thanks again, Rohan. And thanks to everybody tuning in. Stay connected for more insights in our Thought Leadership series.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Bruce.